And these, of course, the secrets that that have kind of grown with my career over the last years. As I said just a moment ago, was able to take one client from 97th to #1, telling an amazing story of his past, one that he completely glossed over in his own marketing, and we were able to take him very far. He's now grown an entire brand that's 5 or 6 different products. He's in his mid-20s and killing it. I mean, he's making a ton of money, and all thanks to stories. I could probably take most of the successes I've had in my career and probably attribute them to storytelling. So now, why do you want to tell stories? What is it that they do for you in your marketing? Well, one thing that stories are great at is getting and keeping attention. I mean, one of the hardest things to do is to get people to read a page. And to get them to read a page or watch a video, you've got to get their attention. And there's no better way to get someone's attention than telling them a story. I mean, how many people, somebody runs in the room, you're working in an office or whatever, somebody runs in the room out of breath, their tie is crooked, their shirt is unbuttoned, it's half untucked, and they come and they go, I got this great story to tell you. How do you not listen to that? How are you not wrapped and on edge and wanting to hear the rest of that? I got to tell you, this story is probably the best headline ever written for anything, because who can't listen after that? Another reason you want to tell stories is to lower sales resistance. Stories disarm people. Nobody doesn't like a storyteller. Everybody likes someone who tells a good story. And if you tell somebody a good story, I have this long-held belief in my career that if you tell a good story, and this is like a dirty word to some marketers and some copywriters, but if you actually try, amongst all your persuasion and your selling and all that you do, if you try to entertain your people, keeping within the scope of what you're doing, which is to sell, if you go and entertain people and you do it successfully, people do something remarkable. And I can't prove it, but numbers show me that when you do it successfully, people will reward you by giving you their money in exchange for a product. So here are stories fall into 2 categories. First is secret number 3, the product as the hero story. This is when you tell a story that shows your product solving a problem. And, of course, it's the same problem that your audience is dealing with. So let's see, tire commercials use this. You ever see this where, you know, it's a dangerous road and there's potholes and there's boulders and you know, there's a baby in a car seat, and then they give you all this drama in this story, and of course they can turn on a dime thanks to the Bridgestone tires. Ta-da! The tire is the hero. It saved the little baby. You see this in battery commercials, stranded family in the middle of nowhere, you know, 8 feet of snow, and they get into their car and they shovel off enough snow to get in it, and they turn the key and it starts right up, and you see that Craftsman logo for the battery. Is that who it is? Die Hard, Sears Die Hard. And you see this also for like secret recipe frozen food commercials where the food will come and save the day. Or even this, what about like Snickers? You ever see that commercial? Snickers satisfies. 30-second commercial where someone is at the end of their rope. Someone's can't take it anymore. The funny newer ones are where the people are put in these predicaments, and they take the Snickers, and it's that moment they need to kind of make the right decision. Snickers saves the day. Those are all examples of telling the story with a product as the hero.
I'm just going to take it one at a time because there's a bunch of...
Sure, you're from the top, right?
From the top, but from the beginning. We've got Mike Schwenk. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Well, Mike says, Mike was wondering if we might be able to talk a little bit about specific musts for good buzz docs, or maybe Hans can pipe in too. He says, obviously there are obvious elements, but he's suspicious that there's more to it.
Okay, I just unmuted Hans. Hans, if you want to talk BuzzDoc a little bit, let's get through that. I mean, I'm going to tell you what I know most. I'm going to give you quick basics on this. And Hans is, just so you know, our go-to guy for BuzzDocs and videos. Within the company, he is the man. He writes incredible, buzzworthy pre-launch material. And here's what I know. You want to make your BuzzDoc, at least these days, you want to make your BuzzDoc as as unconnected to your sales material as you possibly can. You don't want it to seem like part of the sale. You want it to seem like a true content document. So you want to get more into that, Hans, and even expand on it?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, like in just about, like in internet marketing, that's mostly what we're doing is we, kind of want the BuzzDoc to be kind of hook people in, with a controversial subject usually, and, and get them to the main sales page. But, there may be some instances when, you do want to do some pitching in it, but, for the most part, the purpose is, you want it to get spread around. And so, like a good, we kind of talked about this a few weeks ago, where you kind of, what I mean by controversial subject is, something, maybe it's time in the news, it's been in the news lately, maybe it's going against the grain, it's the opposite of what everybody else is, generally thinks in the market.
That's always a great one. If you can knock a king off a mountain. And what I mean by that is, for instance, if you're in the, in the financial market, and you want to, and everybody looks up to, give me a name, Ross. Give me a name everybody looks up to as the king who knows what he's doing in finances.
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett, and everybody looks up to Warren Buffett, and you could put out a BuzzDoc about the last 20 mistakes Warren Buffett made in finance. People will want to read it because you're knocking a giant down. She's got her harp.
Yes, I've got my harp. I had to do that. What what about using quotations in your copy?
When you say quotations, you mean like famous sayings that pertain to your copy?
Something like that, or like I found a wonderful quote for a client. Put yourself in the path of a charging stampede of people who are desperate to buy what you're selling, by Ben Hart. What about putting that in your copy or something akin to that?
Well, I think that's all well and good. You have to attribute it to the person.
Definitely.
And you don't want to do it if the person you're taking it from is in the same business, because then it's kind of like a conflict. Or if you're going to do that, at least ask their permission if you can use their quote. For instance, when I first wrote my own sales page, there was a quote from another copywriter that I wanted to use. And I wrote to him and asked him if I could use it. He said, absolutely. So I asked permission, especially if it's in the same niche. But if it's just a general thing and it's someone famous, and it's just a quote and you attribute it to them, I believe there's nothing wrong with that. And as long as it helps further the sale,
make sure your stories are relatable. Include characters that your audience can relate to. Get the name of the dog when writing stories. And then Old Fluffy was no more. It's a lot more powerful than and then the dog was no more. Avoid teaching. People don't want to learn when you're selling. People don't like learning things. So better words would be uncover, discover, and so on. Enthusiasm is contagious. So it's very helpful as a marketer to, thanks for that, Ross. For your message there. So enthusiasm, helps you as a marketer sell more. And find a way to use quotations because they increase readership.
Folks, listen, we, as always, had a ball. Again, we're late. We're working on getting this down to be a tight hour. That's it for this week. Keep the party and the profits rolling.